Hey everybody, Max Kevin here. It's a little UFC podcast. It's the podcast where I only make podcasts before the UFC, even though that's not what this podcast is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a comedy podcast where I do it every day and just say stupid shit for a couple minutes, but I'm fucking lazy and I don't do that, and the only time I want to do it is before UFC so I can talk shit about UFC fighters, and my friends that are listening back home can send me messages, be like, you picked that guy, anyway, let's get to the podcast here. It's UFC 292. Of course, I didn't make a podcast last week. We had another UFC fight night. We had Luque versus Dos Anjos. Against my better judgment, I bet on Luque. He out-wrestled Dos Anjos there, you know. His head was bleeding last year, apparently. Probably shouldn't be fighting anymore. If you have brain hemorrhages, maybe don't fight so much anymore. You know, maybe find a different job, maybe, if your brain, you know. If teaching English made my brain hemorrhage, I'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll just do something else. Maybe I'll do marketing, something else. Then, of course, we had Cub Swanson versus Hakeem Dawodu. Anyway, of course, I bet on Hakeem Dawodu, and so did everyone else. And but of course, the judges they had some favors. They had to give some favors to the Mafia there or something. I don't know how Cub Swanson won that. Even when they were interviewing afterwards, he was like, I don't know. How did I win that one? Yeah, I was watching that fight, and like that was when they announced the winner. I was like, what? How did they? It wasn't even close. Like, I don't. Anyway, that's just pure corruption. Then of course we had Khalil Roundtree Jr. versus Chris Dawkins. I probably shouldn't have retired from being a police officer because I've been knocked out 4 times in my last 4 fights. And yeah, of course he moved down. You know, he moved down from heavyweight because he was a fat boy. And now he's just fighting light heavyweight. But he probably needs to lose even more weight. He could probably fight at 170 because he's just a big fat boy, you know. And well, he got knocked out again. Oopsies. I think he's gotten knocked out 4 of 5 to Chris Dawkins. Let's see. Knockout number 1. 22. Knockout Rosenstruck. Knockout Curtis Blades. Knockout Derek. Yeah, he's been knocked out 4 times. He probably should retire. Anyway, let's go to the UFC 292. 292, we got Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. I think Aljo's going to take this. I think everyone thinks Aljo's going to take this. You know, he's just gonna probably start striking, and then O'Malley's gonna punch him in the face once, and he's like gonna be like, "Oh fuck striking! I'm just gonna wrestle," and he's gonna wrestle, and then jiu-jitsu, and then get a rear naked choke on O'Malley, and O'Malley's gonna be like, "Oh god, I have a snow cone on my head. I don't have any jiu-jitsu, and I'm getting choked right now." Yeah, I mean, O'Malley's never really fought like any wrestlers. Pretty much everyone he's fought. I mean, the whole division is pretty much a bunch of strikers anyway. Except for Merab there. So I think Aljo is definitely gonna take that one. He's just a more complete fighter. O'Malley's probably got better striking, but he doesn't have the wrestling or jiu-jitsu. And I don't see why Aljamain Sterling would try to stand and strike with him. I don't know, just for fun. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna do that. Of course, Sean O'Malley, he knows what's coming, so he's definitely been preparing. He's definitely been preparing by having threesomes with his wife, girlfriend. I don't know, what are they called? I don't know. He's a cuck, basically. Of course, we got Zhang Weili versus Amanda Lemons. I don't even understand how Amanda Lemons got this title shot here. She's not very good. I've never seen Amanda Lemons do that great there, you know. Of course, I guess she's got a good record there, 13-2. Of course, she lost to. Why is that not on here? Anyway, she's not that good, so I think Zhang Weili's going to take that. She's too old too, you know. She's 36. Maybe she was 30 years old. Might give her the advantage, but Weili is just, she's a beast, you know. She's on those Chinese steroids. So, of course, then we got Neil Magny versus Ian Garry. Of course, Ian Garry, he was supposed to fight Jeff Neal. He was supposed to fight Jeff Neal, but Jeff Neal had to pull out, so now he's fighting the other Neil Magny. And Jeff Neal and Neil Magny, of course, they also fought, and Neil Magny won that fight. even though he probably shouldn't have. That was an off night for Jeff Neal, because ever since then, Jeff Neal he's been fighting much better, and Neil Magny's been fighting much worse. So actually, when this fight was Jeff Neal versus Ian Garry, I was thinking about betting on Jeff Neal, because Ian Garry he's decent, but he can get hit there, and Jeff Neal's got some power, you know. Neil Magny, he's got decent striking, but he doesn't really have the power there, you know. So I feel like Ian Garry should probably take this one, just because he's younger. He's going to be younger and faster. Neil Magny, he's got the reach advantage. He's a good striker, but I just don't. He's just too old, man. Just too old, dude. Don't have the speed. Of course, I could see him cracking. Ian Garry, yeah, I don't know. He just doesn't have the power. Doesn't really have the power. Ian Garry should take that one. Of course, then we got Damon Blackshear versus Mario Bautista. Don't know anything about these guys. Then we got Marlon Vera versus Pedro Munhoz. Yeah, okay, this is the first, on this UFC, I'll just tell you guys my bets. Okay, I did a cute little parlay. With Aljamain Sterling, and Zhang Weili, and Ian Garry. And then I did a cute little parlay with Brad Tavares, and Natalia Silva. And then I did 3 more bets on the rounds. I usually never bet on the rounds, but this was the one time I feel like betting on the rounds was a good one. So the Weili fight, I bet under. Is it under 3.5? Yeah, under 3.5. I feel like Weili could definitely get a finish there. And then Aljo versus Sean O'Malley, I bet the under 3.5, because I feel like either O'Malley will knock him out quickly or he'll just get out jiu-jitsu'd quickly. And then Neil Magny versus Ian Garry, I did the over 1.5 there. So I feel like Neil Magny doesn't have knockout power, but he definitely has the striking defense. So those are my bets. Those are all my bets. Got the Chris Weidman fight. He's coming back, dude. He's coming back for the belt, dude. Chris Weidman's coming back, dude. He broke his leg. That was just a small setback, dude. He's coming back for the belt. He wants that belt. Chris Weidman's got to be so delusional, dude. He's still there. Every time they show him, he's watching the UFC fights, and the camera pans to him. You know, he always does like the mimicking of the belt. You know, he's like wearing the belt. He's like, I want that belt. Dude, you can't even crack the top 10 of the middleweight division. You're not gonna get the belt, dude. You're not gonna get that belt. Oh, anyway, yeah, I guess that's it. Guess that's it for today. Thanks for listening. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow.